innovations or innovation lessons in the ecosystem of banking. So to give context to this, the Philippines has jumped 19 places to rank 54th out of 129 countries in this year's GII, or now known as the Global Innovation Index. So we were 73rd. Our ranking last year was 73rd. We have now gone up to 19 places to rank 54th. Now, out of these 7 pillars tracked by the report, the Philippines score increased in 5. Which categories are these? These include institutions, infrastructure, business sophistication, knowledge and technology, and creative outputs. Okay? Several business executives yielded a clear acknowledgement of the importance of innovation in advancing their organizations. There is a growing realization among business leaders to evolve and adapt to the 4th Industrial Revolution, taking advantage of the new opportunities and becoming a new and innovative organization in the process. So to share more on innovation lessons from an ecosystem bank, let us welcome the CIO of PBCOM, Mr. Ariel Roda. A round of applause, please.
I apologize for taking 2 minutes, hobbling along. It's a bad fall last week, it's another story. So, good morning, everyone. No caffeine? No one had caffeine earlier? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. So, I realize I'm the last guy standing between you and lunch. So, I assure you this is going to be a short 300 slide, 20 slide presentation. So, I'm going to speak from the heart. It's a personal experience as well, being new to the industry that we all now belong to. I'm new to the bank, never worked for a bank, zero knowledge, and I'd like to think the only reason why they hired me was because I would be able to contribute learnings from four other industries that I've had the privilege of working in the past. Electric utility, telco, gas and oil, global multinational, and a few more. Okay, so the CIO, and I'm supposed to talk about predominantly tech areas. The lessons here are, it's not all about tech. It's all about the ecosystem. It's all about really understanding who your customers are. Okay, and the weapon, the basic weapon you have are not your computer engineers, not your programmers, not your designers, but people who know how to listen. Okay, and really go out and talk to your customers. So, next slide, please. So we're a small bank, 80 years. We celebrated our 80th year last year. We started 1939 in Binondo, and that tells you a lot about our roots. So we're predominantly a commercial and corporate bank. We're not that big in the retail consumer space. We don't even have credit cards, but we have debit and cash cards. Not many walk-in customers wishing to open a CASA account, for example. But we do a lot of personal products and services because they happen to be employees, customers, or suppliers of other ecosystems which are our primary customer targets. Okay? So be mindful that I'm talking as a bank in a specialized area. Okay, so it's ecosystem. I focus on commercial and corporate customers. I'm very different from Union Bank, my colleagues from Union Bank. We don't have large branch areas. They might have, I don't know, my bigger brothers might have 4,000 branches. I only have 100 plus. They might have 20,000 employees. I only have a little over 1,000 employees. So the revenue contribution per employee is much bigger, I would like to think. Right? They have 5,000 ATMs. I only have a little over 100 ATMs. So that forces us to be creative. Okay? I don't have much money. I don't have 200, 300, 400 million dollars to pour into technology, but I can be creative. And I become creative not because I have a lot of people in my shop, or because the bank has a lot of creative people in the shop, but because we work with ecosystems which include vendors, partners, fintechs. Okay? So later on, I'll explain to you where everyone can probably play a role if you want to take the time to talk to me, and we go down the same path, which is co-selling and co-creating value for our customers. So, generations of customers, SMEs, small businesses, entrepreneurs who have been with us for 80 years, the grandfathers who have trusted us 80 years ago, now have grandchildren who run bigger businesses and trust us to continue being relevant in their life cycles. When I say life cycles, the grandson graduated, wanted to set up a small business just to please probably the grandfather or the father, so they need financing. I go in, we engage them, they get married, they need a new house, they set up more stores, they need a new fleet of vehicles to deliver, they've heard of Grab Food, they also want to deliver, so on. Okay? So that entire life cycle is ours. Okay? So I don't mind the customer who walks in one time and cashing a check. To me, that's not a value-add relationship. Or one-time opening account because the pay slip happens to require opening an account in a particular bank. And you all know that. Your payrolls are all in certain banks. I care about people whose life cycles I can track, I can monitor, I can manage, and this is how I change, okay, and innovate and get the bank to a more relevant position. Next, please. Okay. 3 areas. How do we actually innovate? First is mindful that we're an ecosystem bank. We're now part of a larger group of companies. You may have heard of Pure Gold, for example. They're our biggest brother or affiliate in the group. You've heard of SNR, maybe. Okay, so we happen to be the smallest company now in a much larger group, a conglomerate. So that forced us now to say, okay, it's kind of embarrassing, right? You have a big group you belong to, and you're unable to address many of their financial requirements. So that forced us now to say, how do we reposition ourselves to become more relevant to that new group of customers? And this is the challenge. We're a bank, they're in FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods. Who the hell knows anything about FMCG? I mean, this is fast retail, this is wholesale, this is quick, lots of cash registers, cranking up sales on a daily basis. We're talking of hundreds and millions and even billions of cash, physical cash. Because the target market of our conglomerate is still predominantly cash. I can't do anything about it. That's how they, you go to your sari-sari store or your warungs in Jakarta, it's still cash. No one goes in and says, can I pay you with some digital wallet? They'll probably not mind you, right? So, part of accepting that is the realization that it's going to be complex. I need to talk to suppliers on the upside. I need to talk to customers and their customers on the downline side, including distribution network. So it forces us now to look at the entire business process. And how we do that as bankers? We get people in who are experts. So we've hired some of the good people from the top 3 global manufacturers. Okay, they're now with us, either they're board members, they're field operations people, they're consultants, they're advisors. So that helps because if you don't understand the industry you're targeting, okay, so that goes as well for if you're targeting school kids, for example, you must obviously know as much as you can about that subsegment. And the last one is, we like the word strategic partnerships. We've worked with our GSG, our procurement, to say, out of so many hundreds of suppliers, can we move from least cost to vendor partner? That's very crucial. Because least cost is 10, 5, 6 vendors, and whoever gives me the lowest cost wins the account. I'm moving to what vendor gives me the bigger value. okay, long term. So even if they're a little bit more expensive, but they add value, to me, that's much more important than least cost. Okay. Next, this is a summary. I apologize for the busy slide. It's a summary of how we are attempting to match our products and services with our target customers. So it all starts with core, cash management, checking, handling, that stuff. And then we try now to value add. Okay, on the next layer, which is the middle part, we're now with a wider set of partners from vendors and maybe consultants from other industries. We're now able to identify other needs that have been largely untapped by our brothers in the industry, because you're trying to force one product onto everyone else. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're chasing the long tail. I don't know if you're all familiar with the long tail model, where everyone has an individual set of needs, and with some tweaking, we can actually customize it quickly. And someone else earlier, I think it was Union Bank, mentioned minimum viable products. We're big on that. In fact, our last product dev is only 6 weeks. 6 weeks from ideation to an actual working product that I can test, I can pilot, I can learn from, I can monitor before we even go full-scale production. Okay? And even production is not big for us. I don't have 10 million customers, right? So I'm still comfortable enough to take some risks that my bigger brothers may not be able to do so. Okay? Next, please. Oh, sorry. Can we go back to the slide? I don't know if you noticed on the left side, middle, there's something described as white label. So this is the funny benefit that we've realized. We're now able to white label our products and services because we've built an in-house set of capabilities, okay? And in partnership with third parties, quickly customize the platform, either going through backnet or closed loop APIs. I'm able to do that on the fly. So I'm now able to do white label products and services as a small bank. So now we're targeting certain subsegments of our market who also now want to set up their own financial services for their own set of customers. And I want to be the guy in the middle of all that, empowering those services. So in effect, I'm not competing with the big boys. This is a market that I don't even know if the likes of my bigger brothers in the industry are interested in, right? Because it's not big volume. It is profitable, but it's not big volume. Next. So what did we see? We sort of expected positive change, positive benefits from this strategy. So what we saw was, we're now handling hundreds of millions of pesos daily. Okay? Suddenly, the money is coming in. So for the bankers here, that's likely free money, right? It goes into CASA accounts. I don't have to pay 2-3% on high-cost liquidity. So I now have enough cash, and now begin to wonder, what will I do with all of that cash, right? So I see now different points wherein I can interface with customers. I mentioned earlier your goal. We've set up pop-up branches. So these are little kiosks that suddenly appear in strategic locations. We're trying to get rid or reduce the floor sizes of our branches. Maybe some of my brothers and sisters in the industry want to become bigger branches. I hope to become smaller. Because as I move to digital self-service, I really don't see why I need to maintain a 200, 300 square meter branch. So they're becoming smaller, we're standardizing on smaller footprints, and we're creating pop-ups all over the place. So we have just a few right now, we're testing it. Some of you who have been to Pure Gold Taguig, for example, near the City Hall, might have noticed that. Okay? So these are self-service machines, maybe 1 or 2 tellers who can just help and guide you. So, we're also seeing billions of pesos in transactions being handled annually. Why? What do I do with 1,000 suppliers? What do I do with almost 1 million retail outlets nationwide? So they buy stuff in bulk, in wholesale, they resell, and all of those transactions go through us. So it's billions of dollars in quantifiable transactions every year. Next. So we're new in this game. All this talk about transformation. We hardly use the term digital transformation. I certainly don't want to use it. It's more business transformation for us, using technology as a way to enable and then quickly progress us on this change journey. So we started 2016 when the board and the stakeholders said we need to be on this path. Not really because it's everyone's there, but because it makes sense for us. It's a lower cost of engaging and delivering our products and services. So it's a net margin play, and at the same time, it's improving customer loyalty because we now embed ourselves into the lives of our customers. In 2017, we started talking to vendors and trying to create strategic partnerships. So I'm sure many of the vendors know and have talked to PBCOM in the past. Everyone came in trying to sell something, but that's not the model we employ. You don't come in to sell, we don't sit down to buy. It's co-creating value. So if there's no skin in the game, if there's no stake on your side, then perhaps we're not the market for you. Maybe it would be some other banks who have the ready base and the scale. So in 2018, we said, let's continue to create a test bed. So we worked with some familiar players in our own group. Transaction banking team went to work, creating new products. The branch banking team went and engaged with customers. And some of us in product development also started creating, simple products and services. Until 2019, when we said, okay, looks like we're not messy anymore. We have a framework, we have a model. We know how to get from point A ideation to point B minimum viable product in 6-8 weeks. Still messy, still largely not fully documented, but at least we're there. We can start testing, and that's what we've been doing in 2019. So in 2020, moving forward, what we're now attempting to do is professionalize and standardize everything: business process, procedures, policies, right? We're trying to put it down in writing, lest the regulators start, getting nervous, the auditors start questioning us. So that's what we're doing now. And we're attempting now to separate a group just for innovation. Because we learned that having business as usual for anyone in the bank, whether you're in sales, you're in customer relationship, you're in product development, you're in IT, if you have a BAU that's pressing, because that's the sole source of your revenue, that's going to take priority, right? Over innovation. So we said we're a small group. I only have 50 people, 50 in IT. I think my near size bank competitor is 400. See, but we're just as productive, even more, I think. So what we're trying to do now is professionalize it and separate that innovation team now, so we can scale. The objective 2020 moving forward is I need to scale now, okay? Because we've had enough lessons already. Next. So you think, I put in just a few cents into many of our innovative works. Very few people working on it. You'd think we'd see small gains, right? We expected gains, but we didn't expect this much. Okay, so apparently it's paying for all the good work the bank has been doing the past years. We're seeing year-on-year improvements, very good improvements now. Okay. I can't disclose the numbers yet, but believe me, it's even surprised us, right? It even surprised me. So. Next. So, improvements in transformation, in areas that we've transformed, improvements in partnerships. We now have more partners than ever. We continue to innovate. There's a beehive of activities related to that, and more pilots last year. So we'll now set up and standardize for the following year. Now, where do great ideas come from? This is something that I really need to share with you. Because, you know, this not invented here syndrome is the most dangerous thing that can happen to any of you. It's, you know, I've been in the industry for 40 years, that's never been done before, it will never work, it's, my God, I hope you don't encounter people like those because they're no longer open, okay? So great ideas come from maybe a stupid idea, like someone who's not from the industry, asking, why do I need to sign up 10 pages of forms, right? Or why do I need to show you 3 IDs when all 3 are government issued? Maybe just one is enough, right? With e-commerce act allowing digital documentation to be entered as evidence, why can't I do a video recording of my interview in an e-KYC and then file it? You know, all those little tricks. Simple tools that you can actually pick up from other industries, right? And apply it to, I mean, if they were able to pull it off, why can't we? So that's always the question in your minds. Why don't we follow what others are doing or even try and test it, right? Initially, we thought, you know, the regulators might be a little, you know, and guys, guess what? I have a core banking platform on the cloud, 100% on the cloud, and it's offshore. It's not even, you know, the data residency fear is not real. The regulators are even encouraging all of us to really test the cloud. So I now have my own full digital bank app on the mobile phone. It's called PBCOM Mobile. It's on iOS and Android. We're quiet about it because, as I said, we're testing everything. We're piloting it with certain ecosystem partners. Next, please. So I was ahead of this slide in my hurry to get you guys to lunch. So I'm on the cloud. I have a lot of stuff on the cloud. Even my my RPA. We're testing a lot of RPAs, robotic process automation. We're testing a lot of that. I don't want people anymore to intervene and do manual stuff, right, in the middle of a transaction. It has to be all robotics and documented. And I'm putting in triggers so I can monitor what each data element is going through from creation all the way to retirement if I need to kill a customer's information on the database. So all of that is going into the system right now. And the last part is we're now open to product code development. We're a small bank. I was told we're not too particular about the PBCOM brand. That's why we're now white labeling. If you want to call it XYZ Bank and have all the rural banks in Mindanao use it so that they're on a digital mobile platform from day one, let's talk, right? Maybe we can talk. Maybe if you can afford per customer, let's talk. If you want per transaction, let's talk. You want time of day usage? Nice. You can also do time of day, right? I mean, why? If you pay for your electricity at a much higher rate during peak periods, why can't you also do your transactions, the same way? I don't know. I'm just asking aloud. I'm not a banker, right? So ask yourselves that, right? Why can't we do that, right? Next. And we put in a lot of self-service machines. A lot of self-service machines because we don't have enough people to cover all of you. So, in fact, we've put them where the customers are, in their back offices. So we bring a machine, go to the back office. So instead of cash being picked up by armored cars, being picked up by roving tellers, just drop it there. Right? in that machine. And we pick it up after every few days when it's full, right? We're doing that. We're doing that for cash collection, we're doing that for check. So we talked to our customers and they said, okay, you can take my cash, my check management business, but can you find a way where we don't have to manually manage the physical check? So tweaking, our cash and banking team, went back to the drawing board, talked to the vendor, customize, and then, okay, everything's digital now. And guess what? You're not gonna send it to us. We're just gonna put the machine there. So you drop in all the checks, it scans, it takes a photo, everything's documented, and it's online. So you get credit right away. Next. So typical toolkits that we use would be DevOps. DevOps is outsourced for us. Okay? So we work closely with a few developers who can do quick, agile, and minimum viable. I can do much with just 50 people. But I can tap dev partners with 800, 700 people who are excited with containers, with Dockers, microservices, APIs, right? So stuff that you don't really need to understand, but they're just as important. We're focused on online channels. We're now reviewing where all our channels are, what all transactions are happening in those channels, how are we monitoring, how are they faring, how much time are we spending, what sort of money is going into it. It's daunting because I'm a firm believer if you cannot monitor anything, you cannot manage it properly. So it all starts with really monitoring what's happening, right? Partner services, I mentioned this earlier. We're open to co-development, we're open to branding, co-branding. Okay? Prototyping is a given for us. Okay? From weeks to just a few months, a product must be created and tested. And then the white label banking, and then the cloud services. Next, please. So that ends my 20-minute presentation. I hope you guys picked up a little bit from the journey we're on. So everything's still in flux, everything's changing. The only constant change maybe is change, right? So constancy is change. So if your people are not of that mindset, then maybe you should start with culture change and get your HR guys to actually align KRAs, align even compensation packages. We have a few executives right now in the bank whose compensation depends solely on what they bring as value to the bank. Okay, so forget the 17, 18-month bonuses of the bank. I want you guys to have 30-month, 35-month bonuses of telcos, where you bring more value and you get more for your contribution. Why not? We can copy from the others, right? We're not a dead industry. That's my point. So please, hope you picked up something. Please, let's all remain relevant as an industry. Thank you very much.